All right, so yesterday we talked about if we were going into the military, what that looked like. We talked about a little bit about if you just had a high school diploma, what would that look like for a job? Okay, y'all keep it handsy. So, okay, I'm gonna finish it. Stop it. Okay, so you should have filled that in. Describe the difference between hard and soft skills. You don't know what the difference is?
What people I know so like I forget which one it is, but like one of these like skills like, that help you with like a job like being able to talk with your teammates or like being able to like conversate with your teammates like being nice and like a lot of respect and stuff like that. And then like the other one is like it's like skills that you like learn in your child, I think. Hard, hard skills is when things that major required income and things you learn for a specific thing. Soft skills is qualities that I have to learn about this.
Yep. Okay, so soft skills are like being able to communicate, being having like etiquettes, if you will. And then hard skills are like you learn how to operate some machinery or whatever. Okay. Now, why are soft skills important, especially in the workplace? I work with a lot of people that I don't like on like a daily basis, but they don't know I don't like them. Oh, but of course. So, with that being so said, soft skills help deal with people. Okay, it keeps the workplace professional. It's kind of like, you know, the book The Art of War. You know how like people are supposed to conduct themselves in war. Okay, kind of similar with the workplace. Soft skills are kind of like how you're supposed to carry yourself in the workplace. Okay, cool. On your resume, when you build one, you need to have some soft skills. Okay, whether that be means that you're really good at delegating, or you're really good at communicating, you're really good at, I can't think of any other soft skills right now off the top of my head, but you can Google them. You need to put at least 3 or 4 on your resume. Okay, because they'll ask you about those. Okay, all right, associate degrees. All right, so an associate degree is a great option for students who want to pursue post-secondary education, but are not sure if they want a 4-year degree, if it's right for them. Describe how an associate degree compares to a bachelor's degree and a high school diploma. So what does an associate degree do? Do we know? We don't know what an associate degree does. Normally it's like for tech job. Like for instance, like you can go be a paramedic, you could go be a plumber, you could go be a auto mechanic. Now, some of these jobs you don't necessarily have to go to school for, but you could get paid more if you have an associate. Okay. Now, an associate degree, remember, is only 60 hours versus the bachelor's, which is 120. I can actually even see that little like. Yeah, you can barely see that picture. Awesome. Okay. Um, if you get an associate degree, it is a specific skill that you're learning. Okay. So the 5 different types of schools that offer an associate program. Yes, up there. Yep. The five different schools. You've got trade school. So like I think Gwinnett Tech is probably our closest one. Sorry. All right, you got community school. So the closest one for that is going to be like GGC. Junior colleges also offer these. We don't see junior colleges that much down here. Hmm. I know that there's Dalton Junior College, but I don't even think it's called that anymore. I think it's now become something bigger. Junior colleges are normally just like community schools that don't want or like that don't want to like I don't know, be part of the bigger system. Technical colleges. And the last one is just like affiliated colleges. I don't really have a big example of that one. But like UGA has like littler campuses and they will offer a lot of associate degree programs. Okay. All right. So provide three reasons why someone would want to earn an associate degree. Three reasons why somebody would want to earn associate degree. Get paid more. So maybe there's a pay raise that comes with it. Okay. Learn a trade. Another reason to get an associate's. I always thought an associate's was like almost like a trial error, like a trial period for whatever major you wanted to have. So like you might get into it and like not like what you're doing. So you get an associate's and then you can switch your major and go get a bachelor's in something. Does that make sense? So kind of like trying out a major or a career. Like my mom has an associate in family consumer science. That's actually what she taught for high school. So the cooking class, if you will. Yes. Okay. All right. So if you're interested in pursuing a specific technical or vocational career, then you may benefit from attending a trade school that teaches you those skills with hands-on training. So what's the purpose of attending a training? What's the purpose of attending a trade school? To learn how to actually do the trade, skills for the trade. Why is it important to think about earning potential and employment growth rate when thinking about a trade to pursue? Why is it important to think about earning potential? So that's talking about how much money you can make. Yep. What do you think? So you want to make sure you get paid in the end. Plus, So what should you be aware of when you're looking for a for-profit trade school? So what for-profit means? Yes, but normally for a trade school, it's going to be like a privately owned business that operates with like a trade school. So they say, hey, come learn from us and you get a job, but you pay us to get a job. Does that make sense? So what should you be aware of when you're doing this? So you want to be careful because most of the time, they generate revenue that is used for non-educational purposes. So let's say I go to this school and I'm trying to be an electrician. And I pay them thousands and thousands of dollars. And they don't spend their money on things for me to learn. They spend their money on whatever's going to help the business. Does that help my education? No. So what am I paying for? You see what I'm saying? So you could run into kind of like a little snafu. Now, hopefully they don't do that, but they can. All right. So go ahead and take a moment. I want you to look at vocational trade schools. I didn't know all of the different trades that you can do, but you can make a lot of money if you know a trade. So go ahead and take a moment, type this into your browser. Nope. JK.
Oh.
You just ask what a trade is? So like electrician, plumber, your blue collar jobs. Look it up. So here are so back in the day, I had a kid who wanted to be a underwater welder. An underwater welder. They make over six figure. So like, when they do the oil drills, he's the one that goes underwater and like patches up like the thing. Yeah. Huh? Only six days? No, but he only works 3 days a year. Oh. Yeah. The problem is you could die. Yep. Like construction, yes. That takes certification. Yeah. All right, so go ahead and fill in that pros. Okay, did you find any other trades besides like electric, plumber? Yeah, listen, they make a ton of money, but the life insurance on that is expansive.
Is that most IPs become with like physical problems. Like even plumbers have very bad back.
Mm-hmm. I dated an electrician for like a little while, and like his hands were messed up, his back was messed up because they're always like stuck in some like closet somewhere doing something. What? But you're doing that like 8 hours a day, right? Okay, so what are the pros to attending a trade school? What are the pros to attending a trade school? What are the pros to attending a trade school? Learn a skill. Dang. Okay. What else? Much faster. Normally it's maybe a year max, depending on the type of job that you're doing. Lower cost. Okay, now what are the cons? If you go and you are an electrician and you're learning to be an electrician, that is all you are certified to do. Mm-hmm. No other opportunities. Like you got that certification for that job. Okay. What are other cons? Maybe some health issues. Most construction workers have like arthritis by the time they hit a certain age, right? Say again? What do you mean? Like working a lot? I mean, they normally work about 40-ish hours. How much do they make? Is that a high paying job? I mean, it can be a decent amount depending on the certification. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe some varying in amount made. I don't know why this is lagging. You're also not guaranteed a job. Another thing is like it's seasonal. Like when does construction normally happen? It's summer. So during the winter time, you ain't doing nothing, right? Or you're doing little jobs. Okay. Good. All right. There are several options for people who are looking into getting on the job training in a field that they're interested in. One option is apprenticeships, a paid work-based training program that allows you to earn a certificate or qualification. What are 3 ways in which apprenticeships differ from other training programs? Okay, so on the right-hand side, I don't know if you can see this on your page. Apprenticeship is about 1 to 5 years. You're paid with wage progression. You get classroom instruction and on-the-job training. You focus on skill and career attainment, and 95% have employment after the apprenticeship. Okay. Now, an internship, everybody's like, you should get an internship. You're basically like watching, but you're not being paid normally. Okay. You're just watching and you're not guaranteed a job. Apprenticeship is good because you're guaranteed a job normally. Okay. So, apprenticeship, you are paid, potentially have a job after graduation. And it focuses on skills. With apprenticeship, you are doing that job. Internship, you are watching that job. Pretty sure I know the answer to this next one, but I'm always worried. Oh yeah, duh. All right, which industry offers the most apprenticeships in the US? Yeah. No,
Doctors, lawyers.
no, that's still interning. Apprenticeships means that they're doing the job. Okay, so construction. The construction industry offers the most apprenticeship because like how are they supposed to learn if they're just watching you hammer? Like you got to actually do the skill in order to actually get it done, right? So explain what the blue collar bias is towards apprenticeships in the US and how it differs from other countries. The outside people?
Wow. Yeah. That's a very weird word.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Um, blue collar is the hard manual labor jobs. Okay, so that's agriculture, manufacturing, construction, mining, etc. When you think of blue collar jobs, that means this person might have gone and gotten their associate's degree, maybe not. Maybe they just went straight into whatever field that they're doing. What do you typically think of them before you've even really met them? They're what? No, no, they do have unions though. What's the stereotype? That they're dumb, right? And that's not the case. You got to be smart in order to do all of that, right? But most of the time, they believe that they're like lower on the social ladder, right? That's the bias that comes in. Now that's not true. I got a lot of friends who have blue collar jobs, but they are seen as being lower class. Okay. Now, how does that differ from other countries? Other countries normally see their construction workers as being somebody who's like important because they're building like, yeah. If we don't have blue collar jobs, like we're kind of screwed. Yeah. Hmm? What do you mean? Hold up. Let me mute. Okay. 3 ways that the internships can help students. So internships, they're great because you can actually like be what you're actually going to be doing. So you can view the job before you actually like take that job. Okay. It's short term, so you can change your mind if you want to. Like if you don't like what you're doing during that internship, it can be done and then you can move on to something else. Is there another way that internships can help? So like you view the job, you can gain some skills. Okay. I think there was one summer that I worked with a lawyer and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. Not a fan. Well, it depends on what type of law you actually do. Okay, going to flip the page. All right, so calculating annual income.
I can't have
You ready? Okay, calculating annual income. So here's a little like grid. Okay, and these are the different levels that we've got going on. So scenario one, Juan decides to enlist in the Air Force after high school. He receives $10,000 signing bonus. Use the table to calculate his basic pay, which depends on his rank, pay grade, and years of service. During his first year, he will be living on base, so he does not need any special allowances or incentives. He will start as an E1, but then will be promoted to E2 after basic training. Calculate Juan's first year's annual income. So, how many years has Juan been in the Air Force? Same. Juan has been in the Air Force less than 2 years, so he's in this column. Okay. Using the table, calculated base pay. During his first year, he'll be living on base. Okay. And he's going to be promoted to E2 after basic training. So, what do we do? He's going to at least make $10,000. We got that much. What's E1 base pay? 1,917.60. Yeah. How long is basic training? Okay, so he's going to do this for 2 months, right? Okay, so he'll make this much for 2 months, and then he'll move over to E2, right? He'll move to E2. So that'll be this one. And how many months is he going to do that at? If we're calculating it for a whole year, we're going to have 10 months. All right, so somebody throw that in their calculator. Yeah, 7.5 to 8.5. Okay. So when you throw this in your calculator, what do you get? I got 35,327.2. 35,327.20. That's what you got. So for an entire year, he's going to make about $35,000. Yeah. Is that a lot? Not a whole lot. Ben, all right. Go ahead and read over scenario 2. All right, so Quentin decides to get an associate degree to become an X-ray technician. Once he completes his degree, he gets a job making $18.86 an hour. Calculate Quentin's annual income based on a 36-hour per week. He also gets 1 week of paid vacation. So he does $18.86 per hour, right? How many hours does he work in a week? Okay, so we're going to do 18.86 and multiply it times 36. So this is how much he's making in 1 week. How many weeks do we have in a year? Okay, so we're going to take 678.96. We're going to multiply it times 52 weeks. And so he's going to make 35,305.90. Everybody okay on that? Okay. All right. Kevin has just finished his vocational training to become a car mechanic. He earns an hourly wage of $25 and works 40 hours per week. He also regularly works 5 hours of overtime per week, which is 1.5 times the regular wage. Because of his good performance, he received an annual bonus of $5,000. Calculate Kevin's annual income. So he works $25 per hour times 40 hours per week. So how much is that? That's $1,000 per week. He also works 5 hours overtime, which is 1.5 times the regular wage. So what's 1.5 times the regular wage? That's 37.5. And he does that for 5 hours. That's 187.5. So each week, Kevin is making 1,187.5. Now we're going to do this for 52 weeks. We're going to multiply it times 52. And he gets a bonus of 5,000. which is going to give him 66,750. Okay, so I got 15,600. Is that what you got? Okay. Um, Looking at these different scenarios, these represent different people in like different parts of their lives, um, and also different things that are offered just besides going to college for whatever, right? Um, the vocational training, he made the most money. Like he made double what these other two guys were making. Yeah. Something to keep in mind, you don't have to be a lawyer, doctor, whatever. Okay. You can be something else that just requires vocational training. Okay. Everybody good? All right. Yay. On to like math part. Yay. Okay. Calculating monthly payments. This shouldn't be too bad. And doesn't take too long. I am going to show you something in Desmos, so make sure that you got Desmos open, so that we can practice with that. So we're going to calculate monthly payments, and we're also going to talk about effect of compound interest that it has on the total amount paid. So when looking over at career salaries, repaying student loans and creating financial budgets is common practice to evaluate sums on a monthly basis. To calculate monthly payments, we use a monthly payment formula. Okay. Does it not have it on there? Isn't it on your paper though?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I don't know why it's not popping up on my screen, but okay. Do you recognize any part of that? Like you've seen a formula very similar, right? You've seen something like that, right? You've seen that before. Okay. Very similar to that formula, but this has got a lot going on, right? Okay. What I want you to do is go ahead and go into Desmos, and I want you to type it exactly with those variables. Type it exactly with those variables. So coming in here, and I want you to create sliders for each one of those things. Okay, so take a moment, go ahead and type that in. Make sure when you buy a car, not gonna lie, buying like a brand new car sucks. It really does. Because it's not just the price that's actually on the car. If you take the car price and you add about like 10%, that's gonna be all of like your hidden fees and taxes and all that other jazz. Because like look at what the original price was and look at what you are actually going to be paying for. So we went from 24,950 to 29,000. Like I feel like that's a big difference. But let's say that you talk them down to 27,000, which always try to talk them down. Don't ever just accept the amount, always try to talk them down. Okay? A little side note. Also, girls, bring a guy with you to talk cars. Yes, don't go by yourself. Bring a dude. Okay. All right. You talk them down to 27,000 and you make a $3,000 down payment and finance the rest at 6.5% APR for 5 years. So how much are you going to be financing? So you've paid 3,000 already off of the 27,000. Okay. So how much are we actually going to like have to borrow? We're going to borrow 24,000. Okay. because we made a down payment of 3,000. We only have to borrow 24,000. Now we're going to turn 6.5% to a decimal. So that's going to be 0.065. Now, how many months are in 5 years? So we have 60 months. Okay. Now, since R divided by N is going to be used so much, we go ahead and calculate it. If you were calculating it by hand, this is what you would do. But I'm going to show you how to do it through Desmos. Okay. Go back to your Desmos. So you notice how we got this 24,000. We're going to put that in for our P value. R is 0.065. N is how many times it's being compounded. So how many months are there in a year? 12. And how many years are we doing this for? How many years are we doing this for? 5. Okay. Notice how once you type in all those numbers, what does it do for you right here? Okay. I didn't have to do any math. Okay. So again, type that equation in Desmos, add your sliders, put in the information. If you type this in by hand, you're more likely to make a mistake. Okay. All right. So coming back in here, that's what we got, right? Now, do you actually realize that this is going to be your monthly payment? But after 60 months, you're going to be paying 28,000. Remember, we only borrowed 24. Let that sit in. You borrowed 24,000. By the end of 60 months, you will have paid 28,000. Okay? So remember, when we borrow money, you can't wait. You want to try to pay it off as fast as you possibly can. Okay? A really good rule of thumb is to make at least 1 to 2 more payments than you actually need to do in a year. Okay, so my current car payment is only $330. Okay, what I do is I pay $430. So that way I'm chopping down on the principal amount. Does that make sense? Okay, so that way I don't do it in 60 months. I'll do it in less time. I won't have to pay as much interest. Okay, all right, on your own, I want you to determine the monthly payment for a used car. And let's say you need to borrow just $7,500 from the bank with an annual percentage rate of 9.5. Usually the longest you can have a loan is for 4 years. So let's say we pay the loan off after 4 years. What's going to be the monthly payment? All right, so go ahead and take a moment. I want you to try that next one. So I got 188.42. Yes. No. Okay. All right, really quick. Bring it back. Bring it back. Okay. Your principal amount, so the initial amount was 7,500. Your rate is 0.095. Your T is 4 years. Monthly is 12. You could find your R divided by R divided by N if you want to, if you're calculating it by hand, but you don't have to. Now, this is a question that we need to pay attention to. Determine the amount actually paid to the bank and the total amount of interest. So, if I'm making payments that are 188 what was it? 188.42. Okay. 0.42. And I'm doing that monthly, and I'm doing it for 4 years. I get 9,044.16. This is how much we borrowed. This is how much we're going to actually pay. How much interest are we paying? How would we find that? You subtract those two numbers, which is going to be 1,544.16. Okay, so here it is again. I found my monthly payment, which is 188.42. I found how much I'm going to pay total. So times 12 months times 4 years, that gives me 9,044.16. Now, if I want to figure out how much interest I paid, then I would take my 9,044.16 and subtract 7,500 because that's how much I borrowed, right? And that would give me my interest paid, which is 1,544.16. Good? Can you try the next one? Yay. Take a second. So when I did this, I got 571.23. Okay, remember we rounded 2 decimal places because we're dealing with money. Good? Questions? Okay, don't mess this up. It's too easy. Now, determine the actual amount paid to the bank and the total amount of interest. So if we were trying to figure this out, we would take 571.23 and we would multiply it times 30 times 12. 571.23 times 30 times 12. And that would be 205,643. I took my monthly payment, multiplied it times 12, because that's monthly, times 30 years. And so I paid $205,643. That would be terrible. That's a thing. Okay. Now, total interest. So in order for us to figure out what the interest is, I'm going to take what my total payment is and subtract how much my principal amount was. Okay, so when I do that, if y'all don't, okay, that's going to give me 120,643. So this is my interest paid. Okay. Again, same concept on this one. You want to make one extra payment per year, and you can take a 30-year loan and cut it down to about 15 years. Does that make sense? Okay. That's how you get through that loan faster. Are there any questions on those? This is what your quiz is over tomorrow. It's going to ask find the monthly payment. It's going to say, what's your interest that you paid? So what we just did up at the top. And then it might say, determine how much you're going to pay with interest and your monthly payments, which is the number at the bottom. Nope.
I don't get it, right?
Yes, we just learned it today, yo. No, Grant, you need to take it. Or else we're like behind. Yeah. No. You rounded to do 2 decimal places? Oh. Yes, you may. So it was 120,643.8? Or is it 42? 42.8. Okay, sorry. I'm using my AP stat calculator that like rounds everything up. So my bad. So it should be 120,642.8. And on this one, I'm sure it's 0.82, right? It's 642.8. There you go. Good catch. Question? Okay. So you got a worksheet earlier. If you didn't grab it, it's up here at the front. So I just want you to get some practice in for your quiz. So what you're going to do is complete the front and the back. Once you're done, you're going to turn it into the basket. Questions? But of course.
Oh.
Okay. All right, go ahead and get started on that.